Good day to you all, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in for round 3 of the Master Race Car E-Challenge 2022 season. This is the third and final round of this series at the New York E-Prix replica circuit. It is a faithful representation of the actual New York E-Prix circuit. I am here today with Tom Jones. My name is Travis Mehlinger. We're bringing this to you on twitch.tv/sim broadcast. Tom, welcome.
Hello, Travis. Thank you for letting me join you again for this final race of the season.
You are welcome. Glad to be here with you. Tom and I were not here for the second round. We thank Pete and Owen for covering that for us. Tom and I had a couple of other obligations we had to attend. Pete and Owen did a great job. We're really glad they were able to join for that event. There you see on the screen the configuration for today's event. It is, once again, a replica of the New York E-Prix circuit, so the actual Formula E circuit, the event that runs in New York. Very tight circuit. The barriers very close together. A couple of very tight hairpins, some tight chicanes, lots of tight 90-degree corners. In practice and in qualifying, Tom, this has proven to be very challenging for the drivers.
It has indeed. We've seen many people clipping the barrier on their way around in the practice sessions, so I have to see how they fare in this final top 10 shootout and qualifying now.
Yes, we will. And speaking of cars in the shootout, we see on track right now the car of Carolus Maciutis going around. I believe he's on his warm-up lap. We were talking while he was going in the background, so I think he hasn't started his flying lap just yet. Ooh, clips the barrier there. This is his flying lap. I've heard in my ear this is his flyer. We missed that while we were getting started here. Comes out of the hairpin. That is the most challenging corner on the circuit, Tom. We've seen a lot of cars caught out there, including the course cars. He's hit the wall coming around that 90-degree right-hander. That is not going to help his time. He's got big damage on the left front as he comes around to this fast-sweeping left-hander.
Yeah, this final corner just goes for ages, and you see him there washing out again, hitting the wall. You've got to be patient in these cars. They don't quite have enough downforce to carry themselves around that corner.
Nope, and the rules dictate that these cars need to be on R4s if the session is declared dry, and it is. We saw one of the Sidus cars come out of the pits. Ooh, big slide coming around the final corner to start the flying lap for Jimmy Virtanen across the line right now. He'll be hard on the brakes into this tight left-hand corner, kind of a hairpin that then tightens into this 90-degree right-hander, and then a series of 90-degree right-hand corners on and off the power. You can see him using the rear of the car to try to get it around these corners. Not much grip and not much space to actually maneuver. So the drivers have to be pretty clever, have to be very thoughtful about how they enter and exit these corners to get the best line, the optimal line into the corner, and then onto the power. I called this Jimmy Virtanen a moment ago. I got the green cars confused. This is actually Ronan Kronpush, which should be pretty obvious as he goes by, saying race green number 96 on the side of the car. And here he comes down to this hairpin. Tom, take it away.
Yeah, huge kick of oversteer on power. Nicely getting the apex and using all the road possible. Slight brush of the wall there, but into the tight right-hander here of turn 11. Hard on the brakes again, just using all of the track that is available. Finally into the tight chicane here of 12 and 13. Hitting the wall on exit, which is not going to be helpful for his lap. And then taking a bit of a shallow line in, but able to carry the speed on through as he runs up here to set a lap of the... And there we see he's gone provisionally on pole now.
He has, and as he does that, we see Gabor coming through behind him, be coming across the line just now, and hard on the brakes coming into the first corner. There we go, tight down to the apex there. Very nice line. Kept the car to the left so he can negotiate these two right-hand corners very nicely all the way out to the wall. The third of these right-hand corners. Now he'll bring the car all the way out to the wall here on the exit, carry as much speed as he possibly can, bring the car all the way over to the right side of the circuit, and then hard on the brakes for another one of these 90-degree corners. Nice and tight to the apex. A quick switch back to the right into this hairpin that follows immediately, using the rear of the car, putting the power down to turn the car in. And now through this short straight and into this kink, a 90-degree left-hand corner before the most challenging corner on the circuit, this very tight hairpin. Gabor was doing really well through this corner in practice. A little bit of an early entry. He's going to have to slow down on the exit, brings it all the way out to the wall, just taps it. Looks like he was able to get the power down and carry the speed reasonably well. Now through this right-hand corner, just a few corners remain on the circuit. This quick right-left series of kinks, a fairly quick chicane, and now this fast sweeping left-hand corner. The rear of the car wants to get away, using the power to steer the car around this corner and across the line. Gabor goes quickest in a 10:71. That is nearly as quick as the pre-qualifying time that Jimmy Virtanen set, Tom.
Yeah, very good lap there from Gabor. Jimmy Virtanen set a 10:37, I believe it was, in his pre-qualifying. So I'll have to see what he's got with us for today.
Yeah, in the background while we were talking about Gabor's lap, heard a bit of bumping and scraping, and I think that was Nico Pantola going into one of the walls. Nico Pantola really struggling with the car. He had an aggressive tire warming technique that Tom and I were enjoying during the practice and qualifying sessions. Don't know if he's done that here, but it looks like he hasn't gotten as much heat in the tires as he would like because he was really struggling for the grip. Ping-ponging off the walls here, coming through this sweeping corner and into this left-hander up ahead. Well, he comes around to the furthest point on the circuit, just misses the wall there, touches the curb to get the car turning in, and now into this tight hairpin. Turns in a little bit late, nice and tight down to the apex, uses the power to bring the car around. So quick through there for Nico Pantola. Now negotiating this right-hand corner, just touches the curb to help the car turn in through this right-left chicane. And now Nico Pantola comes through this sweeping bend blind because the walls are so high. Goes a little bit wide out into the middle of the circuit. That's going to compromise his drive off the corner. But even so, Nico must have had a ton of time in hand because he goes provisionally quickest on a 10:59, a little more than 1/10 ahead of his teammate. Tom, I don't know that we expected that out of Nico.
No, I wasn't expecting that. It was a really good lap from him in the end there. Really fantastic. Now, just need to figure out who is going round next. I believe it could be Mead about to start his lap. Yeah, I've just heard it is coming down here to turn one, braking about the 75-meter point as he's just overshot the apex slightly, but able to get the car rotated round, cutting in nicely onto the apex as they're using all the road possible and keeping the car well pitched round, using all of the road possible, and a nice blast down now, down as long back straight as he goes for the tight left at the end. It brakes perfectly for that, nails the apex there, and then able to keep the car very tight and tidy through there. He's got the sweeping sector here, braking just after this kink here on the right, down for the tight turn, 90-degree left of turn 9 now, onto the tightest corner of the track now, the hairpin at turn 11. Very difficult for these drivers to get right. Only just got enough of the turning angle, and he absolutely nails. That's a fantastic hairpin from him here. Onto the 90 right again of turn 11. Bit wide, just sliding through there isn't ideal for his time, but into the chicane of turns 12 and 13, wonderfully done through there, and then the long sweeping turn 14 to finish out the lap. Manages that very well, and a blast across the line here puts him provisionally on pole with a fantastic 1 minute 10.17. That is 2 tenths faster than any lap we've seen previously today.
That is a stunning lap from Jared Mead. We heard everyone in our ears express a bit of shock. We know Jared is pretty good, but I don't think we expected him to go to the top with a dominant lap. Very nicely done by him. As we watch Jimmy Virtanen come across the line, Jimmy Virtanen, we know he is the quickest. He seems to be the best adapted in these cars based on his performances in the first 2 races. Misses the first apex in the very first corner, but he's got it nice and tidy through this sequence of right-hand bends. Another one of these right-hand bends, and then wide out to this sweeping exit all the way out to the wall. Just misses the barrier with the left rear of the car. And now he will jump on the brakes here, past the 100-meter board, brings it down into this left-hander. He wants to keep it nice and tight for a good entry into this corner, a little bit wide into that hairpin. So that'll compromise his exit speed a little bit. Keep the car over here to the right side of the barrier, just past this kink and into this 90-degree left-hander. And here, where the cars can make up a ton of time, Jimmy Virtanen negotiating this difficult hairpin. Takes a little bit of an early entry, but he uses the rear of the car to bring it around. Gets the power down very early. Nice line from Jimmy Virtanen. We haven't seen other drivers do that. Hard on the brakes for this 90-degree right-hander. Closing out the lap pretty strong, just misses the barrier on the entry to this chicane, and now he wants to keep the car nice and tight through this sweeping left-hand bend, using the rear of the car to turn it in a bit wide of the barrier, but he's carried plenty of speed. He hit the wall on the exit. That will slow him down slightly. Is it enough for the top spot? A stunning lap from Jimmy Virtanen in the minute 9 range. Almost 4 tenths clear of Jared Mead. Jared Mead surprised us with a mighty lap, but Jimmy Virtanen shows us once again that he is the top dog in the E-Challenge. Tom, stunning lap from Jimmy.
I don't know what to say. That is an incredible lap. Jared put a challenge out there of that 10.17, and Jimmy Virtanen has just replied with an absolutely insane lap. I can't express this. We've seen a lot of laps in the practice and qualifying, and nobody was getting anywhere near that. So at times people were struggling to get into the 110s, and he's just smashed that with a fantastic 109.8.
Yeah, amazing performance from Jimmy Virtanen. Jared Mead set a very strong benchmark, and then, as you said, Jimmy Virtanen replied and then some. Comes out, sets a stunning minute 9:82, the only driver in the minute 9 range. All right, we are getting ready in the background. That concludes the Super Pole session. We'll take a look at the championship standings. Jimmy Virtanen, the man who just set pole position lap, will be at the very top of the order here. On for a championship today, assuming he finishes strongly. We have no reason to believe that he won't. Jimmy Virtanen in the top spot at 51 points. He needs 11 points to secure this championship, so he can finish fairly far down the order and still seal his championship. Nico Patola trying to take that top spot, has his work cut out for him today. They're in second position with 33 points. David Gaj, 22 points, third place in the championship with Pali Peltagongas, who I don't believe is participating today, in fourth. Gabor in fifth, not on for a championship, but he can move up a couple spots with a strong finish today. Carlos Machajudas is in sixth. Jared Mead and Eldar Kadrich are tied for the seventh position. Pablo Satone is in ninth with 8 points. Isaac Williams rounds out the top 10. And there you can see 11th through 16th on the right side. Breno Almeida, Imran Azar, Pedro Vitor, and Adam Brown all the way down there in 16th position. In the team's championship, Jimmy Virtanen leading the charge for Master Race Car at the top with 73 points. Team side is not far behind. They have Nico Patola and Gabor running near the front to start this race. So Team Citus could take the team's championship. And then well back in third position, nowhere in contention for this championship, we have Last Lap Motorsports, followed by Savage Sim Sports. And then Road Apresa Racing Team, Born to Race in sixth, Race Green Autosports, that's Ronan Craw pushes team in seventh, and the lone sim broadcast point. I believe Adam Brown brought us that one. They're in 8th position. All right, we do have an interesting feature coming up. We have a comparison lap from the New York E-Prix mimicry, the inspired layout that we have here in LFS, and we can compare this with the actual New York E-Prix circuit. We're going to bring that up in the background to take a look at this in just a moment. Having a bit of difficulty with that, so we'll vamp for a minute while we sort out a technical challenge. While we're sorting that out, we will take a break for a few moments, and we will be right back with you. We are back, still trying to sort out this issue with the side-by-side comparison video. So we're going to give this another shot, and if we continue to have more challenges, then we can. There we go. We've got it on the screen now, so you can see Live for Speed versus Formula E right there. On the top, obviously Live for Speed. On the bottom, we've got Robin Freins going around the circuit. Yumi Virtanen on top, and there you can see hard on the brakes into that first corner, and then the second right-hander. This sequence of right-handers. You can see just how close these cars are on circuit. Robin Friend's a little bit quicker than Jimmy Virtanen, but Jimmy Virtanen does this on weekends. Robin Friends does this all the time. Coming down this straightaway into the left-hander, this 90-degree left-hander with the sort of right-hand hairpin following. A little bit more lock on the actual Formula E cars. Looks a bit less challenging to get through those corners than it does in the LFS machine. There we go, hard on the brakes in this left-hander. Both drivers using the rear of the car to turn around, and now into this very tight hairpin. A little bit more open in the actual E-Pre circuit, but both drivers negotiating it very well. Now coming up to this right-hander on the brakes for this 90-degree corner, and then up ahead, this very narrow chicane over the right curbs over the left, and now this fast sweeping left-hand bend. The visibility just as challenging in the real thing as it is here in Live for Speed, and the two of them across the line at nearly identical times. Great lap from Jimmy Virtanen and Robin Friends, an excellent comparison. All right, we hope everybody enjoyed that, and we thank Michael Malik for putting that together for us. We are getting the grid set in the background. We should be ready to go in just a few moments' time. I think the driver's briefing is happening right now. We'll talk about we like talking about predictions in these kind of events, and Tom usually has a few good ones. Tom, what are your predictions today?
It's going to be a wild one, Travis, is my initial statement I'm going to make. Big areas, I'm expecting some sort of contact, bit of carnage. Turn one, obviously, on first lap, maybe second lap, and everyone's trying to be a bit braver and make up the positions. Of course, a lot of runoff there, so hopefully no major issues, and hopefully be able to get through. But I do expect there to be some sort of issue happening there. Once again, then turns 6 and 7 as cars are trying to snake their way around there. Very tight left, right there, so that could be issues. And then once again, turn 10, heavy braking zone. It's renowned, people trying to make lunges into these heavy braking zones, so could look for that. And then 12 and 13, if someone has a brave idea to make it side by side, I expect both cars to come off horribly in that situation. But that's my predictions for crashes. I'm going to expect at least one safety car. We've got 20 cars on a track that's 2.4k or 1.5 miles, so I'm expecting some sort of issues to happen.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. The circuit, as we've talked about a few times, very tight, very twisty, and the places where you might be able to make a pass, to set up a pass under braking, there's no relief from the closeness of the barriers. So it will be challenging. I also expect a safety car. Tom is usually right about these, so I'm going to go with him on this one. If I were a betting man, I'd put a few dollars on there being a safety car. There you have on screen our broadcast team while we look around this circuit in the background. My name is Travis Mehlinger, joined by Tom Jones. We've got Peter working the cameras and Chris in our ears, helping us follow the action on the circuit. We've got the grid set in the background. Still a few minutes until we kick off. We do have an interesting, a nice touch. An exciting little twist on the start today, or on the grid presentation today. So we urge everybody to stay tuned. Look forward to that. We got something new and fun that we haven't done before. We got everybody readying up in the server right now, so we should have cars on the grid in just a minute for us to do our grid presentation. We've got 20 cars starting today. Jimmy Virtanen in the top spot for this, the third round, where Jimmy Virtanen hopes to take another Master Race Car E Challenge Championship.
Yeah, if I was gonna make a prediction, I do expect Jimmy to win the championship today. It's a tall ask for Nico to win that.
Yeah, Nico and Gabor not far behind though. Though we will remind everybody I don't want to say spoiler, but I think the surprise of qualifying was that Jared Mead took the provisional pole position spot in a commanding fashion before Jimmy Virtanen was able to snatch it himself. So Jimmy Virtanen has a bit of a buffer between himself and the two Sidus machines. Jimmy Virtanen doing most of the work today for the Master Race Car squad. Nico Patola and Gabor in position to try to snatch the team's championship. We do have cars coming to the grid now. There we go. We've got cars on the screen, and you can see the camera car there in the very bottom of the shot, or you will be able to in a moment, while we head up the grid to introduce everybody in just a moment. Hey, we're having a little bit of difficulty with the cameras here. There you can see in the background, we do have a flyover coming through, 3 jets coming over the grid. While we look over Jimmy Virtanen on the left side of the screen right there with the safety car there on the right. This is a very clever mod by Yaroslav Donalik, bringing these jets over the background. And there we go, jets overhead. And now we are waiting for Michael Malik to come down the grid. We got the safety car driving out of the way now. We should be able to introduce these drivers in just a moment. There we go. Now we are on board with Michael Malik. We'll follow him around so that we can see the drivers on the grid. We'll have to wait for Michael to come around to the end of pit lane, and then we will see Jimmy Virtanen, the first car on the left side, and then his competitors lining up behind him. Here we are approaching the front of the grid right now, and we can see looming up on the left side in the bright green machine, the number one previous season's champion and the man poised to take a championship victory again today, if he could stay ahead of his competitors, is the number one machine, master race car driver of Jimmy Virtanen, the Gemini there, turning his wheels for us. On his left, our right, is Jared Mead, the number 98 machine. Behind these two, Nico Pantola and Gabor, the two Team Sidus teammates, looking to take the team's championship away from Master Race Car. Behind them, we have Rona Krompush, the number 96 race green machine. And then starting in sixth position, we have Karolis Matjutis, the last driver in the Super Pole top six shootout. Behind him, we have Pedro Vitor, the number 51 car. And then alongside, the number 52 of Isaac Williams. The Italian behind him in the number 18, Lorenzo Lucidi, with David Gage on the right side of the screen right there. The next row of the grid, Adam Brown, who came from Porsche Esports Super Cup a little bit earlier to join this event, the number 8 sim broadcast machine. And then alongside, we have David Fernandez in the number 9 car. Behind these two, we have Nikolai Ivanov, and then we've got Unsal, the number 6 machine, behind them. And then the number 5 of Ramon Hornos, with the number 14 of Federico Silva lined up behind him. Our friend Martin Kampal lines up in 17th position with the number 15 of Imran Azar immediately behind him. And then in the last row of the grid, we have Jeffer Jakob on the left side right there. We are missing the 20th starter, the number 40, the 41 machine of Gudis. Not sure if he's starting for pit lane, but we don't see him on the grid. Those are the starters. Once again, Jimmy Virtanen on the left side of the screen right there, starting in pole position today, trying to secure a championship. We wait for the lights to come up. There you can see all 20 starters on the timing tower right there. Cars rolling up to start the formation lap in just a moment. Waiting for them to roll off. Oh, there was a formation burnout. I got a correction in my ear. We don't run a formation lap in these cars because they need to conserve as much of that energy as they possibly can. Lights coming up right now. We got the call that they are bringing up the lights. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights illuminated, and these cars should be away in just a moment. Long hold from race control. There we go. Jimmy Virtanen is away. A very nice start. Has a nice buffer to Jared Mead behind him. The two Sidus cars going side by side into this very tight first corner. Jimmy Virtanen easily away. A little bit of bumping and running in the back. The two Sidus machines got away, but there is a huge cluster of cars, 3 wide, coming through this very tight circuit. That won't work. It looked like Nico Patola was about to get Jared Mead coming through the first sequence of corners, but Jared Mead able to secure second position for himself with Nico Patola and Gabor behind. A big cluster of cars coming together in the very tight opening corners of this circuit, but it looks like everyone is through now. 2 cars coming side by side through here. That's not going to work. Ooh, that's an Air Attack newsroom machine that got hit sideways coming through the corner. Not sure exactly who that was. We'll find out more information, but a few collisions, a little bit of scraping and rubbing, but for the most part, these drivers getting through this very tight circuit cleanly in the first lap. Tom.
Yeah, at the start, Adam Brown had a slight issue. I didn't see exactly what caused it, but he did end up into the back of someone, and then into the tight left of turn 6. It was, I believe, it was the pitch and air attack of Ivanov and Fernandez who had a little coming together, and then Kapoor ended up having a slight half spin, which caused a bit of a tailback as people were trying desperately to not make contact there. So that's what caused all the bit of the chaos on that first lap there.
So first lap completed. Jimmy Virtanen away in the lead. I think we expected a safety car. We've failed in this prediction, but there is still plenty of time. For 43 and a half minutes left on this very tight circuit. Jared Mead runs in second position with Nico Patola not far behind. Gabor in fourth, falling back from his teammate about a second with Rona Krampusch in fifth. Carolus Maciutas started sixth, has fallen down to 11th. So the top 5 running where they started. Carolus Maciutas falling off a little bit. Tom, we're not used to seeing this from Jimmy Virtanen. In the first couple of races, he was content to hang back and conserve. In this event, he has taken off in the lead. He is gone 2.5 seconds ahead of Jared Mead. I expect Jared Mead was fairly strong in the last event, but I expect he may, before too long, be holding up Nico Patola and Gabor, who were quite fast in the race just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I think it could be a case of he's seen just how dominant he is on pace here today, so he doesn't really want to risk anything with people coming together with him and fighting for position. So I think he's just using his pace advantage to build himself a bit of a buffer, then work hard on fuel saving to make sure he can make it all the way to the end and secure that championship.
Yeah, we saw this from Sean Lee in the first round, how he was able to get away with a pretty clear gap early on in the race, and then obviously the later complexion of that event changed fairly substantially. But even so, in the early running of that race, Sean Lee was able to conserve and also keep the pace pretty high. So certainly no reason to believe Jimmy Virtanen can't do that today. He's extended that lead to 3.5 seconds. Jared Mead, I sold him a little bit short just a moment ago. He's extending that gap on Nico Patola. He's added about a tenth to it. So very strong running from Jared Mead. Surprised us by taking second position, starting on the front row of the grid. And now he has laid his claim on second position in the race. Strong running in the opening laps.
Yeah, rising board, I hear fantastic view onto the cars in front of him. He's getting nice and close. You're just seeing how difficult it's going to be for the drivers to overtake here today. The walls are so close together, so any opportunities, it's really going to emphasize the risk taking, and the opportunities are just going to be so much more valuable to make sure that the drivers are able to pull them off.
Yeah, great onboard shot with Isaac Williams right here. You can see, just how tight this circuit is. Oh, just clipping the curb there. That's the way through that corner to help the car turn in. But the barriers are very close on either side of the driver, and he also has this barrier ahead of him, another one of his competitors. So very difficult to see around the circuit. You have to be very precise, very challenging to negotiate these corners when the barriers are so close, let alone having to account for a possible mistake ahead of you or trying to set up a pass to take a position. Probably easily the most difficult circuit these drivers have driven so far in this event.
Yeah, so the car that we see in front of Jared Mead here is Imran Razar. He has just gone through. He came out of the pit lane. I think he might have another. He's got a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane, so he's going to have to go back into the pit lane again. There you see him getting out of the way here for the second place car, which all this has only helped Jimmy Virtanen up ahead to just extend his gap and get away a bit further.
Yeah, so we talked about our predictions before the race that a safety car may be one of them. So far, that has not come to pass. But one thing we had not talked about is Nico Patola pulling a lot off to the side there. I wonder, is he letting his teammate through to try to give him points? I don't know why he would do that because they're pretty close together in the championship. Don't know if that was a mistake or if he actually let Gabor through. So we predicted a safety car. That has not yet come to pass, but one thing we did not talk about is back markers. Very challenging to negotiate this circuit, difficult to pass, and it will be very difficult, very challenging for the guys running around at the back to find smart places to get out of the way. Awareness, a key element to the race today, knowing when the front runners are coming up behind you and then finding a safe place to get out of the way without compromising the cars that are going to be coming through behind the leaders. So we're asking a lot from the back markers today, but so far everybody through cleanly. Looking at Adam Brown now, our teammate Tom, all over the back of Martin Kapal.
Yeah, he's got a bit of damage there, which I believe he picked up at the start of the race, but I have to say that Sim Broadcast car looks absolutely fantastic. I might be a bit biased, but personally I think it looks great. A bit of a throwback to the old Apple-sponsored Porsches, I think it was.
Yeah, the stripes on that machine look really, really nice. Looking at David Gotch, he's just gone off. He's got a bit of a buffer in front of and behind him. So we'll follow him through the corner here. One thing I've noticed following Jimmy Virtanen at the front as he has continued his habit of using the rear of the car. Ooh, Davigosh nearly misses the hairpin there. Jimmy Virtanen is using the rear of the car to get around that hairpin. As we look back to Adam Brown now, who is side by side. He was running right up behind Martin Capal, but these two going side by side through these very tight corners, Tom, they can't keep this up for an entire lap.
Yeah, I don't think. I think Adam Brown's going to have to back out there, and he's been showed the wall. And he's backed out. If we jump to the front, Gabor has just made a move to take second place away from Jared Mead. I think Nico letting him through was because they might have communicated that Gabor was saying, "I am definitely faster than you," and he's let him through. And Gabor has shown it. He's gone absolute flying on past him, and Jared just hasn't had any response to the pace that Gabor is showing. And I think Gabor is going to start closing up to Jimmy Virtanen as well, because he's got some fantastic pace here. So I think it's definitely a team play for Nico to let him on through there.
Yep, I'm inclined to agree. Smart running by the teammates. This is one of the big advantages of running with your teammates among all your other competitors, is that you can work together to strategize a little bit. We see Jimmy Virtanen going through the shot just ahead of Gabor here. Gabor coming into the hairpin with Jared Mead right behind him and Nico Pantola behind him. I think Jared Mead is going to have mirrors full of Nico Pantola any moment now, because Gabor is getting away and Nico is not going anywhere. Watching Jared come through that tricky right-hander and now through these chicanes to conclude yet another lap. About 37 minutes remaining when they come across the line. Yeah, Gabor is quick. You are right, Tom.
Yeah, Jared's going to be very hindered here because he just did clip the inside there, which is going to set Nico up for a move possibly down the second straight. He's always going for the move there. I think Jared's just let him have that by staying out wide. He didn't want to fight that. I think he understands it's a long race here, and the guys at the front here do possibly have a longer race pace advantage, and he doesn't have that in him at the minute.
Yeah, I think it's as much as we watch Adam Brown now under fire from Martin Capal, Martin Capal's gone backwards. Adam was trying to pass him a moment ago. That was as much Jared Mead deciding he didn't have the pace to stay ahead of Nico Pantola as it was he saw Nico Pantola was not in full control of the car as he came through the first corner. Nico did a huge drift, slid the car down to the apex, and used the rear of the car to get around while Jared Mead jumped out of the way. I think Jared saw that they were both going to end in the fence if he didn't let that one go. So perhaps a bit cheeky by Nico. I don't think he did that intentionally, but Jared Mead deciding discretion is the better part of valor, continuing in fourth rather than getting slapped into the fence by Nico Pantola.
Yeah, especially these longer races, that's quite often the sensible thing to do, because at the start of the race, there's no point fighting someone for that's obviously quicker than you in the long run. There's no point fighting them because it's just going to hinder your race in the long run. So sensible just to sit behind him, and he can use his slipstream, use to save some power, and maybe pull himself further up towards the guys in front.
So one thing I'm noticing watching these cars go around right now is in earlier events there were some faster corners on the circuit. This track really only one fast corner, that fast sweeping left-hander at the very end of the circuit. Lots of slow, tight corners on this track, and it shows in tire temperatures. These cars have stone cold tires, no temperature in them, very little grip. So challenging drive, especially for the guys at the front who are setting these very quick times. Jimmy Virtanen in particular, who is now 5 seconds ahead of Gabor. Gabor through his teammate and Jared Mead, but still falling behind Jimmy. Jimmy doing an amazing job on suboptimal equipment right now. So we can look at this great overhead shot. Lorenzo Lucchini running in sixth position, coming through this left-hander all over the back of Pedro Vitor. Now looking through. Ooh, right up onto the rear of Vitor's car into the hairpin. Lorenzo Lucchini looking like he has pace, but he has a train behind him. So this is a 5-way fight looking back at all these cars for fifth position.
Yeah, fantastic shot there of them coming through the chicane. The benefits of these sorts of circuits, it really does allow the cars that are slightly closer on pace to really bunch up together, and we're getting a fantastic battle of them. They were 5 cars nose to tail. They have split out a little bit now, but that was a fantastic very close there on the brakes. That was really impressive, managing to get themselves round the corner and limited contact. This could be a fantastic battle in a few laps time if people keep fighting like this.
Yeah, there's a little bit of rubber banding and accordion effect of these cars here, with one car gaining time, another car losing a little bit of time, them kind of moving back and forth into each other. This is, as you said, it was a 5-way fight a lap ago. Now it's a pretty close 4-way fight. Lorenzo Lucchini a little bit wide into the corner there. Ooh, gets bumped in the back from Unsall. nearly turned him around, but manages to maintain control of the car. That will give Vitor a little bit of a gap, but none of the cars behind going anywhere. This is still a pretty close fight for fifth position. Vitor may have backed off a little bit. I'm not sure why. Lucidi, was tapped by Unsal, got a little bit sideways and lost some time there, but has made it up again already. Lorenzo Lucidi looks to be a fair bit quicker than Pedro Vitor, but Tom, I've just remembered this from earlier events. Lorenzo Lucidi was a driver who used a bit more energy than his competitors, not known for conserving. So it may be that he is using a bit more energy than the competitors ahead of him, trying to get through, not realizing that that's going to compromise the end of his race.
Yeah, I'd say that would be the case for the first race, but we'll have to see if he's got some sort of strategy plan for this one, because of course he did run out in the first race of the season. So we'll have to see. I'd expect him to be planning on managing his energy better this time round. We'll have to see later on.
Either way, he does have pace, but behind him, we've got two cars side by side. That is Martin Capal behind the Air Attack Newsroom machine, and Silva, who has gotten through. That looks like a master race car machine behind him. I cannot tell who that is behind Silva. That is David Fernandez behind him with Ronnie Kronpush. Ronnie Kronpush was close to the front early in the race and has fallen well back into 16th position. Yeah, Ronnie Kronpush outbraked himself earlier on and let a lot of cars through. So this race not going according to plan for Ronnie Kronpush, as there's more contact between Unsal and Lucidi. Unsal clearly getting through the hairpin very well and using Lucidi to slow himself down. I don't think Lorenzo Lucidi will be too pleased with that. Certainly not a second time.
Yeah, I think he's trying to say he's got the pace on him, and we've been seeing him every time he drops back a bit, he does close up quite quickly. So I think he's wanting to get through, but he's going to, once again, the tightness of this course is going to make it very difficult to happen.
We do have a race control message there on the screen. That is Wolfgangus Gudis, a drive-through penalty for causing a collision. We did not see that collision, but he will be due in pit lane. This will add to the complexion of the race a little bit as he comes through pit lane. That's going to put him pretty far down the timing sheet. He's going to be, so that will cost him some time coming through pit lane. The lap here about 1 minute and 10 seconds long. So Wolfgangus Gudis is going to go through pit lane, and he is going to come out among the top 5 or 6 drivers. So he will need to negotiate the front runners getting around him, as we see David Fernandez coming together. David Fernandez coming together with Silva one more time. These two running side by side. Ronin Kronpush behind them, looking to pounce on the two of them. Ooh, making a mistake. Oh, Silva came across the track like he was clear. Didn't realize that he wasn't quite. Ronin Kronpush right there swipes the position.
Yeah, fantastic move to capitalize on the mistake of the others around him. Really good racecraft there from Ronin Kronpush.
Really is. Tom, you do this more often than I do, for sure. This reminds me a little bit of go-kart racing. The cars don't negotiate. They're not quite as nimble as a go-kart, but with the very tight circuit, as somebody goes off ahead of Ronin Kronpush, that looks like a driver lagging out. Ronin Kronpush gains a position. I couldn't tell if Fernandez lagged out or if he dove into the escape road there.
I think that was a lag issue because he is in front of him. Yeah, he is in front of him. Yeah. So I think it must have been a lag issue. Yeah, this is quite reminiscent to sort of indoor karting. Very difficult to make moves, get past people. Very limited on the grip available, and so yeah, this really reminds me of indoor karting. This is.
Yeah, and you have to be so careful and so thoughtful, so attentive to be able to anticipate when somebody makes a mistake or when cars are running together in tight formation. If one car gets it wrong, then you can follow another car through. On the other side of that, if you make a mistake that lets one car through and you're in a long train, you know you're going backwards and losing a lot of positions.
Yeah, if you get off the line, you're going to be paying the price for quite a while.
There we see Wolfgangus Gudis coming through pit lane, and there is a car on circuit just off camera on the left. That was one of the Sidus machines. That's Jimmy Virtanen coming through. So at least Gabor is going to get through. Nico Pantola is 7 seconds behind the lead right now, but Gabor has been slowly catching Jimmy Virtanen. So Wolfgangus Gudis, as we predicted, is going to come out in the middle of this. Nico Pantola able to get through, so Jared Mead will have to negotiate the back marker of Wolfgangus Gudis in probably a lap or two. He'll want to get through, though he is gapping Pedro Vitor behind. Jared Mead started second, running fourth now. Strong race from him. And I think it's going to get pretty lonely because he's running quickly, and Pedro Vitor is pretty far down the road.
Yeah, Jared Mead's in that position where he's faster than those behind him, and he's not quite as quick as those ahead. So he is dropping back, and he's building himself a bit of an island just to live in at the minute, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Now I am. We can see that this gap has closed visually. Gabor now 2 seconds behind Jimmy Virtanen. We wait to see. We're not quite halfway through the race. Ooh, Gabor misses the apex there. Goes a little bit deep on the brakes. We're accustomed to seeing the energy levels remaining in these machines about halfway through the race. So I am. I'm keen to know just how much Gabor has used to mount this charge, or if he's able to put together this pace while also conserving a little bit. The gap extends a little bit on the second half of that lap, well, and then closes up again just as the timing updates. So Gabor had shed about 4 tenths and then found it again as they came across the line. Gabor running 2 seconds behind Jimmy Virtanen. That was a 5 second gap just a couple laps ago. So Gabor motivated, Jimmy Virtanen still fully in control. We wait to see just how much Gabor has had to throw at this charge, pun intended, to try to catch Jimmy Virtanen.
Yeah, it's one of those with how tight the track is. It's completely one thing to catch him, but it's going to be a completely different game altogether to try and get past. Because we all know Jimmy's got pace, and all he'll have to do is sit back on the bits where there's no opportunity to overtake, and then just get the hammer down when there is a possibility for an overtake, just to secure his position.
So we got this nice rear shot from Jimmy Virtanen there. Looking at his tires on board in the simulator, they are absolutely stone cold at the front. They are black, no temperature in them whatsoever. But at the rear, he's got a little bit of temperature in them, probably owing to his line, his technique through the final hairpin. So we saw, looking back from his car at Gabor, that he uses the rear of the car to swing it around that hairpin. And Gabor driving the car in, like you normally would on, a tarmac racing circuit. Jimmy kind of drifting it a little bit rally style. But whatever the technique, it's working well for Gabor because he is all over the rear of Jimmy Virtanen now. They made a little bit of contact a few corners ago. And we hear the call from race control now in our ears that your tires are ice cold. Please be mindful. It's slippery and challenging for everyone out here.
Yeah, we see Jimmy Verstappen doing exactly what he needs to do. He just needs to hold the inside and stop any ideas of an overtake from happening. Just needs to make sure that he has that apex, that inside, and then Gabor's just going to be helpless. He's just going to be sat behind him, and it's all about Jimmy managing the traffic in front now is what will be the issues for him at the moment.
Yep, there is a back marker ahead of these two. Jimmy Virtanen is very quick through the hairpin. Once again, using the rear of the car to kind of swing it around that corner. Gabor driving it in, but Gabor is not going anywhere. These two negotiating a back marker in just a few moments' time. Ooh, Jimmy clipping the barriers on the inside and on the outside. That lets Gabor catch up right under his bumper. Gabor might be able to have a look coming into the first corner. Nope, Jimmy gets good drive off that final sweeping bend. Gabor will have to follow him around one more time. Gabor takes an early entry into this corner, Tom, a little bit differently from how Jimmy does it.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to the driver style and how they found it has worked for them and the setup they've got on these cars to get round here. Okay, well, it'd be interesting to see how it plans out later. I had a look at comparing the tire temperatures compared to Nico's. Nico Patola does have more temperature in the tires than Jimmy has. I see Jeff and Jacob here just not getting out of the way like I think Jimmy was expecting him to, making it very difficult for him. And there we go, moving out of the way so he can get going. Difficult situation there, and very well done from Jimmy to not completely lose the car there when I think he got caught out by the moves of Jacob ahead of him.
Yeah, the circuit is so tight. Kind of hard to blame Jeff and Jacob for not getting out of the way because you don't want to jump on the brakes on one of those tight corners and then hold up the guy trailing Jimmy. I don't think it held them up too badly. It certainly didn't cost Jimmy any time because Gabor was already all over the back of him. But Jeff and Jacob, kind of a scary moment for him, does manage to jump out of the way, and these two continue to run line astern at the front, coming up on 25 minutes remaining. The clock will wind down just under 25 minutes as they cross the line. We have Jimmy Virtanen in the lead with 57.5% charge, and Gabor just slightly less, 50%. 57%, my mistake. Nico Patola has saved a little bit more. He's on 58.5, so that's good for a significant chunk of a lap. And he is also catching Gabor ever so slightly. Looking down the order there, most everyone doing a really good job managing their charge. That was a theme in earlier races in the season, as there were some drivers who were using an awful lot of energy, far more than they should have in order to make the race distance. But today, everyone managing really well. And some drivers further back, keeping a lot of charge in reserve. They can afford to go pretty hard to the end. Those with about more than 60% remaining, 59% Ronan Krompush has there. So everybody in good shape for charge in today's event.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be an issue. We're going to see. As you've seen, Lucidi has got past Vitor finally, and there's more scraps going on. Vitor really going to have an issue with Unsolved right behind him now, and see if Lucidi is able to bridge a gap on him behind. And I think there's a move going on slightly further back. Isaac Williams, I think, did just get overtaken. I think that was. So we'll have to see if he's able to make any moves around the cars in front of him.
Yeah, I think Lucidi will be happy to have gotten through Vitor because he had Unsal all over the rear of his car. We saw contact a couple times when we were following this battle earlier on. So Lucidi now in fifth, starting to drive away a little bit from Vitor. Clearly has more pace than Vitor, and now Vitor with mirrors full of Hassan Unsal.
Yeah, it's very good battles we're seeing here, and it's of course line astern. It's very, very close racing, which is always wonderful to see. As you see, Gabor here moving to the outside to try and force Jimmy defensive as he does. Jimmy's going to have to just block the apex and then straight onto the apex again to block that. Gabor taking a wider line to go for a better run. He does have the better tyre temperatures, so he might get a slightly better exit, but I think Jimmy has managed to get a better exit there, and Gabor knows there's no point trying to force anything because it's not going to happen through that.
So while they were approaching that corner side by side, I'm following Jimmy in the simulator, and you can hear quite clearly that he's very smart with how he uses the energy. As I think there was a little bit of contact when they came through the hairpin there. Hard to tell from the TV camera. Gabor was alongside, and Jimmy was feathering the throttle just a little bit to get out of the energy, to lean out, to conserve some of it, while not letting Gabor get full overlap and get the preferred line into the corner. Gabor now still completely all over Jimmy Virtanen, relaxes a little bit, coasts into the corner to save energy, but drives it hard down to the apex. It looks like Gabor has the pace here. Jimmy Virtanen drifting through these corners, but Gabor is not going anywhere.
Yeah, what I've noticed is I think Jimmy in these tighter sections, he definitely uses less throttle. He's not as keen to get on the power as Gabor behind him, which is only going to hold up Gabor and push them back into the clutches of Nico Pentola. But I think it's tactical from Jimmy here. He's trying to make sure that Gabor doesn't have the time to set himself up properly or the speed to get proper overlap, as he is right behind him now, but it's not an overtaking opportunity here into turn 9.
No, it's hard to say that Gabor has gotten any closer, but I think maybe he has. He's gone from a few feet to just a few inches away. He could have a look here, but that would be a pretty cheeky move. Decides to take a late apex, and Jimmy parks it. Jimmy parks it on the curbs. These two, though, falling back into Nico Pentola, and we know Nico Pentola has maintained this pace while also conserving a little bit of energy, had a little bit more than the two drivers ahead of him. So Nico Pentola has pace. He also has charge to use, so we have a three-way fight at the front as we pass the halfway mark in the last lap. No safety cars yet. Tom predicted that early. Tom's predictions of safety cars usually pretty good, but so far they have not come true today. These three are running close together at the front, unabated by race control or back markers.
If you remember in the first race of the season, I think it was something like 5 to 10 minutes to go was when the safety car came out. So he's still got a lot of time left in this race. Of course, Nico seems to have found some pace, but then again, I think Jimmy's been backing him up slightly. They are about 5 seconds a lap. That last lap was about 5 seconds slower than what they did in qualifying, which is obviously expected when they're saving fuel, saving energy. But we'll have to see what's going on as Gabor moves out the way for Nico to go on through. Let's see what Nico can do on the attacking phase on Jimmy Virtanen.
Yeah, interesting strategy here by the teammates. We saw Nico let Gabor through early on in the race. These two will be communicating in voice chat, so they know the state of their equipment, they know the pace they have, and I think Gabor has recognized that Nico has a little bit more charge, and he has the pace to catch up to Jimmy Virtanen. Now, I think what Gabor wants Nico to do, and what Nico certainly himself wants to do, is get through Jimmy Virtanen and then back him into Gabor, so these two can pass Jimmy and then drive away in the lead. Nico Pentola gets a great exit out of that corner. He's going to have a look into the first. Maybe not. Decides to lean out of the throttle and will follow Jimmy through the tight opening section of the course. Jimmy does such a good job defending into these corners. He takes a nice narrow line, parks the car on the apex. No chance of his competitors getting by. Very smart driving by Jimmy.
Yeah, see, Nico's got a fantastic run there. He is alongside now. It's going to be quite possibly last of the late breakers now going into the tight left of turn 6. Will either of them want to back out? Nico's got the slight overlap advantage. He is alongside and he gets the apex for turn 7. Who's got the better exit? Nico's got the acceleration on him, but Jimmy is still there. So he's into the wall, which has made him drop back. So Nico has the lead now for the first time in 25 minutes. We've seen a lead change and Nico has it, which now I believe Nico's going to try and back Jimmy into Gabor a bit more to allow Gabor to make a move to get past. So then they can do all that they can to get their championship.
Big drift by Jimmy Virtanen coming through the hairpin. We saw Nico Pantola use the positioning of the car to put Jimmy behind him. Great driving by Nico, using a little bit of excess energy. Very smart racecraft for him to get through. Now coming up on the back marker of Ronnie Krompush, but he has extended a little bit of a gap on Jimmy Virtanen, so he will need to negotiate Ronnie, and he will want to. He doesn't. I don't think he wants to extend this gap too much. I think he wants to stay ahead of Jimmy to try to back him into Gabor. These two will want to run together, use each other to try to conserve. If Gabor and Nico Pantola can get away together in the lead, they can leapfrog and save a little bit of energy. But Gabor needs to get through Jimmy. Jimmy's still in a strong position for the championship. He needs 11 points to secure the top spot, so he's still in great shape there. Gabor is not going to snatch a championship away from Jimmy as it is, but Jimmy still wants to win this race. 18 minutes remaining. Gabor all over Jimmy like a blanket. But Nico getting away slightly, now 1.5 seconds in the lead. Clearly not waiting for his teammate to get through.
Yeah, it's very close. See Gabor trying to just fade him. We're trying to make him panic. He's making it look like he's going to make a lunge. He just wants to see if Jimmy is going to panic and go about his moves. He's huge, very deep on the brakes there and manages to get the car turned around. Got a bit worried there thinking Gabor was going to make a collision with him. And I thought he might have over-rotated the car slightly, but no, he did it very well.
Yeah, hats off there to Ronnie Krompush to get out of the way in the hairpin. Probably surprised him a little bit to see Jimmy Virtanen come drifting through the hairpin and then suddenly appear right in front of Ronnie as he came around the corner. But everybody through cleanly. Well done to Ronnie to let these guys through. Gabor still there all over Jimmy Virtanen. I kind of feel like, oh, Gabor looks like he's making a move. He takes that tighter line into the corner, late on the brakes, but not close enough to make a move. Jimmy drifting around these corners. This has to be a little bit scary for Gabor because he's seen this lap after lap. He knows this is Jimmy's way around the circuit, but when you're following somebody like this, it looks like they're not quite in control. So, yeah, Jimmy's tires absolutely freezing. At the front, they have been stone cold since the opening laps of the race. At the back, blue surfaces, not much grip. So he may be driving this way out of necessity. We saw this style in qualifying to get the car around some of these tighter corners, but it may be that he doesn't have any choice, that the equipment just doesn't give him the grip he wants. We can see that Nico is slowly getting away in the lead, so Jimmy may be struggling.
Yeah, as we look back here to P10 with Montiotis having in the middle of a three-way scrap for P9. He's got Adam Brown right up behind him, and I'm not exactly sure who that is in front. I think it's Isaac Williams has dropped all the way back now. So it's going to be an interesting fight over the next 15 minutes to see if these guys can work their way through and up onto that big group ahead.
Yeah, those guys ahead of them have extended that gap a little bit. These cars were running a little bit closer early on. We'd really like to see that beautiful sim broadcast machine a little bit further up the order. Give our own colors the attention they deserve. Adam Brown out there doing his best today. So we watch Unsall come through this sweeping left-hand corner. Very difficult to see around this corner because of the high barriers. Tom, I think if we had a safety car, a couple cars going through there side by side could precipitate a big one just because it's so difficult to see. If somebody went off there, nobody coming through would have any idea that a couple cars had gone off. Kind of a dangerous section of the track. As we do see, I think we'll have a race control message in a moment. I just saw the notice that there is a car being asked to stop for mechanical reasons. I believe that was, there it is, mechanical black flag for Wolfgang Scudis. Car started at the back in pit lane. Now has a lot more damage. Oh, the front of that car in bad shape. He has clearly gone straight into a barrier somewhere. The toe on the front of the car is obviously quite a bit off. Is what I think the technical term for that is wonky. That's what an engineer would tell you, Tom.
Yeah, it's definitely not ideal, and it's gonna cause him some issues going on. But it's just limp it back round, get it in the pits and get it fixed and get himself back out and rejoin. As Gabor's making a move up the inside here of Jimmy. Jimmy's managing to hold it well round the outside there. Fantastic job from Jimmy. Gabor's looking to make a move around the inside. There was a slight contact, but both drivers able to survive around that corner. Both live to fight another day. Let's see how they go further up ahead now.
Yeah, I think now it's fair to say that Jimmy Virtanen is actually holding Gabor up because Nico Pantola has extended his lead to 4 seconds, doubled it in just a couple laps. That big slide around the first corner where Gabor had a look, this is what we were talking about a couple laps ago, how it's kind of unsettling to follow a driver who is driving like that. Gabor decided to make the dive, and then Jimmy Virtanen did his typical drift around the corner and made a little bit of contact. So it's probably getting kind of frustrating for Gabor. Might get his opinion about this after the race if he's able to roll with it, or if this has been particularly challenging. He and Jimmy Virtanen clearly different styles, different techniques around the circuit, and this has frustrated Gabor for the entire running so far. Gabor not able to get through Jimmy Virtanen while his teammate steams off in the lead. As we get the charges up on screen once more, 34% remaining behind 34% remaining for Nico Pantola, a little bit less for Jimmy Virtanen, and a little bit less still for Gabor. So Gabor needs to make something happen here. He's slow behind Jimmy Virtanen. He's clearly got more pace than Jimmy, but he just can't get through in this tight, twisting circuit.
Yeah, it's not ideal for him as Fernandez has been given a 10-second stop-go penalty for causing a collision and an unsafe rejoin on lap 19. So he will be serving that shortly. I think he's just come into the pit stop now for that.
So earlier on, Gabor has a look, decides not to go. Earlier on, the charges, heard while we were watching Gabor go through, heard a little bit of scraping. I think Jimmy got into the barriers.
Yeah, Jimmy overshot. As we see, look back to the fight for P4. Lucidi here has caught right up onto the back of Jared Mead here. So looking to make a position up here. He's done a fantastic job once he got past that big pack of 5 cars, and he's been closing down Jared ahead ever since. Jared, of course, had that fantastic pace in qualifying, but he just hasn't seemed to be able to replicate it quite so in the race.
And notably, Lucidi, we talked about him earlier, how he used more energy than would let him make the race distance in earlier events. Today, he's kind of tight, down to 29%, a little bit less than the leaders, but conserving more than he has in the past, and he has good pace. So looks like it'll be close for him to make the finish of the race, but he is catching Jared Mead, and he's in the zone where he could still take 4th position and cross the line with enough energy. So good performance from Lorenzo Lucidi today. Jared Mead, strong performance from him too. He surprised us to take 2nd spot in qualifying and running a strong race there in 4th position. Looking now at the front, Nico Pantola has extended that lead up to just under 5 seconds and clearly cruising level on charge with the rest of his competitors and still getting away in the lead. Gabor stymied by Jimmy Virtanen this entire race. Swapped positions with Nico Pantola earlier. Nico Pantola was able to get through, but Gabor not going anywhere. Spending this entire race looking at the back of Jimmy Virtanen's MRC machine.
Yeah, Jimmy's done a fantastic job. Gabor's getting a bit desperate, I think, with some of the moves, or he's trying everything that's available to him to try and get past. He tried to go round the outside into turn 6, but I think he outbraked himself slightly and went just on, but he's, of course, right on the back of Jimmy here, who's just, I don't think he's pushing. He's just wanting to get this car to the end, and he's doing his best to hold this P2 position while doing so.
And these two are going to come across the line as Fernandez is sitting there in the sin bin. I think they've gotten through. They have, so they will not have to worry about the back marker. Jimmy Virtanen is doing a brilliant job, lap after lap, just parking the car on the inside of the circuit there, cutting off the apex so Gabor can't get through. Gabor, as you said, I think he's probably starting to get a little bit desperate. He needs to find something. He's got good drive off the corner here, but Jimmy Virtanen is going to defend to the inside line. Gabor would be wise to send it late on the brakes here and make the same move that Nico did. Go on the outside of this corner and then the inside of the hairpin, but he can't get enough overlap to actually force Jimmy around the right-hand corner there, and he'll follow Jimmy through once more.
Yeah, he just doesn't seem to quite have the run out of turn 4, turn 5 to go. As Jimmy's hit the wall, which allows Gabor to go around the outside. He's going to have to swoop around the outside. Jimmy is still there on the inside. Both of them going around. He's just missed the wall. Jimmy's got a slightly better run for the corner. They make contact. Gabor into the wall. Jimmy just about gets away in the head. This is just showing just how difficult it is to overtake in this tight New York circuit.
Yeah, I don't think Jimmy realized they were still overlapping there, and that was I didn't want to interrupt you, Tom, but I was about to say that Gabor made a mistake there. He decided to follow Jimmy side by side into the hairpin. He should have gone wide and used the power, the straight line drive off the corner to try to cut Jimmy off into the following right-hander. But instead, he follows Jimmy through once more. Gabor has to be getting frustrated now. Jimmy just drifting this car like he's a rally driver all the way around this go-kart track. and Gabor just can't do anything about it. He could take another chance here to send it late on the brakes and try to hold the car around the outside, but he's too far back on this lap. He only has about 9 minutes remaining, so 8 or 9, maybe 10 more laps. Gabor running out of time, but Jimmy is in the wall once more. The rear of that car affording him no grip. Looks like a handful. You can see how bent up the bodywork is on the back of that machine, but it's enough to keep Gabor behind him. Jimmy Virtanen still has a stranglehold on second position as Nico Patola continues to extend his lead.
Yeah, I wonder if Gabor's trying to force Jimmy to use more energy than what he wants to be using to see if they can strategy and make him run out of charge before the end of this race.
Well, hard to say if it's working or not. We may get to the charge indicators one more time before the race concludes. Gabor falling back a little bit now. I doubt that's maybe that's intentional, maybe it's not. We will see. But Gabor not in contention at the moment. He's backed off a little bit. There's a bit of a gap to Jimmy. Jimmy not drifting around the first corner this time. I do now wonder if that's kind of a defensive tactic because he didn't park the car sideways on the apex. And we resume this fight once again. Gabor, great drive off the corner this time. Ooh, except he a little too much into the power and got into the rear of Jimmy Virtanen's car. If he had just eased into it a little bit, he might have had the drive off the corner to go side by side while there is a car off the circuit ahead of these two.
It's Jeff and Jacob, I believe.
Yeah.
The lap car ahead. This is going to be another dynamic to this battle we're seeing for P2. Whether he's able to, I'd hope that Jacob would be able to just nip out the way at the end of the hairpin here and let these two through. But yeah, there we go. We see him getting nicely out the way. Well done from him, not affecting this fight for P2 that we're seeing.
Yeah, Gabor is so talented, and obviously it's easy to talk about this from the booth. It is something else entirely to actually do it on circuit. But I can't help but feel like Gabor is letting frustration get the better of him. We know that he has the talent, he has the racecraft that he could find a way around Jimmy, but he's just not fully capitalized on the opportunities he's been given. 7 minutes remaining, so he's got about 8 laps left to get this done. Going to take a nice wide line into the first corner, but there's really no way around this sequence of right-hand bends. Gabor going to follow Jimmy through one more lap. He'll want to. I think his best opportunity has been out of these corners here as he gets drive off the corner this time. Great drive off that sweeping right-hand exit to that earlier 90-degree corner. He wants to stay side by side with Jimmy Virtanen here, hold the outside like his teammate did. Now he has more overlap. He can stay there on the outside and inside into the hairpin here. Gabor finally gets the job done. I expect he will drive away from Jimmy Virtanen now, though. Gabor is a long way back from his teammate Nico Patola, 6 seconds up the road. Gabor finally through, and now Jared Mead is coming about 6 seconds behind Jimmy Virtanen. I don't know if there's enough time for Jared Mead to actually catch, but he has impressed us with his performance today. May yet have a race for third position. So let's reset the order with that pass. Nico Patola 6 seconds in the lead ahead of his I can't speak today. His teammate Gabor. The Sidus machines now in position to take the team's championship. Jimmy Virtanen, who started on pole position with a stunning pole position lap in the minute 9 range, in third position with Jared Mead 5 seconds back now. Jared Mead is closing that gap. We don't know how much charge they have remaining. Don't know if Jared will have enough to push hard and catch Jimmy Virtanen. But it will be, could yet have a race. There we have the charges up on the screen. Jared Mead has a little bit in reserve, so he may be able to drive hard to catch Jimmy, though, as we've seen, catching Jimmy Virtanen is an entirely different story from actually passing him. So Jared Mead in fourth, Lorenzo Lucidi in fifth, 14% charge, using a little bit more than he had been earlier on in the race. Pedro Vitor in sixth, Unsal in seventh, David Gage in eighth, Adam Brown in ninth position in the Sim Broadcast.tv machine. Carlos Machiutis, who started in sixth position and fell down early up to 10th once again as we watch Unsal come through this corner and clobber the barrier. That won't do him any favors. Tom, it looks like Nico's in control of this. Gabor has closed that gap to 4 seconds, but I think it's going to be too little too late. Nico, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes, looks like he is in full control of this race.
Yeah, my only concern for Gabor is I think he used a lot of energy in that fight with Jimmy, so he just needs to make sure he's able to get this car to the end and not have to worry about energy issues. I haven't really been paying too much attention to the energy per lap, so I can't give some sort of prediction, but 5 minutes to go. It should be about 4 laps, I think it is, so he should be okay. Maybe 5 laps, I think he should be okay to make it to the end on the charge he's got.
And he's got a bit of a buffer to conserve now too. Jimmy has a little bit more than he does, but he's also he though he used a little bit of charge, he quickly built a gap. Speaking of gap between third and fourth, Jared Mead is closing it pretty quickly. When we talked about it just one lap ago, that was between 5 and 6 seconds. Now it is down to just 3. So Jimmy Virtanen going backwards, really struggling with that machine. We thought maybe it was just technique earlier, but it seems like technique to compensate for the inferiority of his machine. Jared Mead looks peppy, like he might be able to snatch a third position, but once again, Jimmy Virtanen has been difficult to pass, so Jared could catch him. Looks like Jared will catch him, but hard to say if he'll be able to get past. There you see the purple box around the number 8. Adam Brown did set the fastest lap of the race just a moment ago, so Adam further down the order than he would like, but he does have the pace. As we watch, backing up to Lorenzo Lucidi, we want to see Jared Mead because he has closed that gap to 2 seconds on Jimmy Virtanen.
Yeah, I've just had a bit of information from the race organisers that Jimmy Virtanen has a 21-point lead if without the race points now, because he had an 18-point lead over Nico coming into the race, and then he got the extra 3 points for getting pole position. So he's 21 points ahead of Nico. So it's looking like a very tall order for Nico to win this race, win this championship. Sorry.
Yep, not without a miracle will he be winning the championship, though. Jimmy Virtanen still has a fight on his hand. He still has to finish the race. Jared Mead is coming, and we know. Oh, as we got a race control message there on the screen. Isaac Williams will have a drive-through penalty for causing an avoidable incident. He'd done the work to come back up the order into that 11th position. We knew he had made up some places earlier, but now he will be going backwards once more. Jared Mead, one of the absolute gentlemen, as I say that as he clatters the barrier. Jared Mead, one of the absolute gentlemen in these events. I don't anticipate he will come together with Jimmy Virtanen. He's run a smart race, and he's used the energy he conserved to catch up to Jimmy Virtanen, but highly doubt these two would come together. Jared Mead, I think, would avoid that at all costs and preserve his own race rather than risk that for Jimmy Virtanen.
Yeah, just looking at the charges there, I think we're going to have at least one victim of running out of fuel, and that's the number 5 car of Hornos. I think he's there on 3%. Yes, he has one less lap to do, but I don't think that 2% is going to get him to the end there.
Nope. I think if I were in that position, I think I would park it at the end of pit lane and then cross the line down a few laps to at least say I finished the race. Looking at Nico Pantola with a little bit less than 2 minutes remaining. Now Nico using the drift technique to get it around the left-hander and line up that right-hand hairpin. Coming through this sweeping bend, jumping on the brakes after this little kink, coming around the back part of the circuit and into the hairpin once more in just a moment. He'll do this, judging by the clock, he'll do this 2 more times. Gabor is catching him, but I don't think Gabor is close enough, and I also don't see why Nico would let him through. They did swap positions earlier in the race. As we look at Adam Brown now side by side with Unsall, Adam Brown had control of 8th position here, and now racing for it with Unsall. Oh, both of them late on the brakes, drives Unsall into the escape road and straight on into the barriers. The officials might take a dim view of that, Tom. We'll see what they have to say about it.
Yeah, I think that one comes down to a few things of both of them were unwilling to concede and be the one to brake first. I think Adam braked for as late as he possibly could to make the corner, and Unsall tried to hang it around the outside there. I think it was a case of, I think it's a 50-50 racing incident. I think at least one of them had to give, and neither of them wanted to, so they both had to pay the price. Unfortunately for Unsall, he's come off worse in that situation.
Yeah, I think Adam was on the brakes enough to make the corner if there had not been a car on the outside, making the corner a bit tighter than it would normally be. So we'll see if anybody has opinions about that in race control. But we watch Gabor trying to catch his teammate and not doing it. Gabor will now need to conserve a little bit because he is low on charge, while Nico Pantola has plenty in reserve at the front. Nico Pantola has been extending that lead, but in the back here, Jared Mead is now all over the back of Jimmy Virtanen. Jimmy Virtanen, who was in control of this race, lost it to Nico Pantola, had to hold Gabor behind him for most of the race. Gabor was able to finally get through, and now Jimmy has fallen into the clutches of Jared Mead. See the lap count there at the top. We are on lap 36.
Final lap.
Starting the final lap now. So Jared Mead has 1 lap to get this done and snatch a podium away from Jimmy Virtanen. But this is a tall order. Jimmy Virtanen has been very difficult to pass, and I don't anticipate it will be any easier for Jared Mead than it was for Gabor.
Yeah, I have to say, I think Jimmy, he's been very quick, but he's also been a bit of a roadblock whenever someone gets up behind him. He's been incredibly difficult. It's a huge slide there through turn 2 into turn 3. Fantastic to see, but of course not very quick. It is going to put a bit of temperature into his rear tyres, of course, which are absolutely stone cold. I think he could freeze a drink on them at this point in time.
Yeah, I can't imagine Jared would make an aggressive send, but I would really like to see him try it, just so we get a really tight race here at the very end. Jimmy still drifting the car around these corners while we watch Nico Pantola come into the hairpin. Nico Pantola just a few more corners to negotiate, and then he will cement his claim on a victory in the third round of the MRCE Challenge. Through this right-hand bend, he needs to negotiate the chicane and then the sweeping left-hand bend around across the start-finish line. Nico Pantola coming through now will take victory. Vitor well behind Nico Pantola, is about to run out of charge. Yeah, he is out of juice, and Adam needs to take avoiding action. Adam Brown looked like he was going to follow Vitor through, but up ahead, Nico Pantola wins the race. A little bit of strategy from the Team Citus drivers. Gabor does finish second. Jimmy Virtanen in third. Jared Mead unable to mount a final charge on Jimmy Virtanen and snatch that position. But it is Nico Pantola winning the race today, and Jimmy Virtanen will be the champion for the second season of the MRCE Challenge. As we watch these drivers, yeah, they've gone
Yeah.
into looks like they've gone into the pit box there to charge so they can make it up to the podium. The podium that we saw some shenanigans here earlier with cars trying to ramp off it. Don't know that we'll get this at the end of the race. Nico Pantola takes the top spot there with Gabor alongside in second. Jimmy Virtanen in third. Podium finisher and champion Jimmy Virtanen. Congratulations to him. As we wait for the remainder of the field to come across the line, Lucchini was able to secure fifth position. Adam Brown jumps up to sixth at the end of the race. Might draw the scrutiny of the officials because of that coming together with Unsal just a few laps ago. But in sixth position as it is right now, David Godge in seventh, Carlos Mateutis in eighth position with Ivanov in ninth, Unsal in 10th. Martin Kapal comes across the line in 11th. And I think we might have a number of cars stranded out on circuit because they've run out of charge. In the time since Nico crossed the line, we would expect to see more cars come through, but we have not. So there you have the top 11 positions. Once again, Nico Pantola at the very top. Tom, that was a mighty race. Great performance from Nico Pantola. A spirited defense by Jimmy Virtanen, who was clearly struggling with his machine today, and a few surprise performances from drivers like Jared Mead and Lorenzo Lucchini.
Yeah, that was a fantastic race to watch. It was really interesting to see the ebbs and flows. Interestingly, I think Jared Mead might have just run out of energy coming out of the final corner because he was right behind Jimmy Virtanen, and then he just dropped right back and lost that 3 seconds to him in the run from the final corner up to the line. So I think he might have just run out of fuel trying to get a charge, getting that car to the end. But that was a fantastic race. We saw Jimmy with some valiant defending, really put on a masterclass of defense here today. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be for him. He had a tall order to defend for 20 plus minutes, and it just wasn't going to happen.
Nope, not today, unfortunately, but a good performance from him regardless. As you said, spirited defense, very, very strong and entertaining driving. But there you can see in the background, the podium finishers. Nico Pantola once again finishes first in 50 minutes, 56 seconds. Gabor ended up finishing 9 seconds behind, so clearly had to conserve in the final lap of the race to make sure he cemented P2. In P3, Jimmy Virtanen, this season's champion, winner in the first 2 rounds, and then a third place finish today. And 3 pole positions. Very strong season from him. Absolutely deserving of a championship. Congratulations to Jimmy. Jared Mead in 4th position. Lorenzo Lucchini in 5th. Adam Brown takes fastest lap of the race and finishes in 6th. David Godge will finish 7th. Carlos Mateutis in 8th. Nikolai Ivanov in 9th. Unsal in 10th. Martin Kapal in 11th. Isaac Williams finishes 12th. Pedro Vitor 13th. Ronan Krampusch, challenging race from him, started near the front and then fell to the back, reclaimed a few positions, 1 lap behind in 14th. Imran Nazar in 15th. Jeffin Jacob finishes 16th. Ramon Hornos ran out of charge late in the race to finish 17th. David Fernandez is 18th. And Wolfgangus Gudis and Federico Silva finished 19th and 20th. We will line up some interviews, and while we were doing that, we will take a brief break. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, we are back, and we have a number of interviews lined up. So we will. We've got a bunch to get through. A lot of people to talk to today. First, the winner of today's race, our sometimes teammate in our own racing escapades today, team Citus driver Nico Pantola. You won the race. Looked like a bit of a strategy shuffle with your teammate who finished second early on, but then you got through. You got through Jimmy, and then drove away in the lead. Congratulations.
Hi, and yeah, thank you. Well, yeah, you could say there was a bit of a team strategy. I thought Gabo was fast, and I let him pass and let him reel in Gemini and see if I could follow them. At the beginning, it felt like I was gonna fall back, but then suddenly they dropped pace, and I was right behind them and could do the move into the. Oh, I forgot what corner was it already. Into the tight 90 braking, turn 5 or something.
Yeah, that left-hander, you got it around the outside to take the inside for the right-hand hairpin, and then able to drive away in the lead. Looked like Gabor had a somewhat more difficult time making that pass. He eventually got it done. Did he have anything to say about it while you guys were going around on circuit?
We didn't have any communication on track though. We were just talking pre-race on what to do and saying that I'll let him pass if he's any faster, but there wasn't any how should I say this? Oh well, never mind.
That's okay, no worries. Either way, you won today. You had the pace. Looked like conserving early got it done for you, and then you were able to run hard again, run hard at the end. So once again, congratulations, winner today, Nico Pantola. We thank him for stopping by.
Yep.
Next, I think we will talk to the champion, Jimmy Virtanen. Jimmy, you are the champion once again. 2 wins in 3 races and 3 pole positions. Tell us how you feel. Tell us about your season.
First of all, I feel happy. I didn't get crashed or anything. It was a clean race for me. This was actually the first race where I used all my energy. So I left everything on the track. But there was just two faster guys today.
Your defense today was absolutely incredible, Jimmy. You held up Gabor for, I think, most of the race. I think it was probably about a solid 35 minutes. Tell us what was going through your head when you were putting on that fantastic performance.
I was just enjoying it. It was great. At least it wasn't boring.
It wasn't boring for us to watch. It looked like you had to adopt a different technique from your competitors. They were driving a we'll say a fairly typical tarmac slick tire race. You were rallying. Was that by choice, or was that to compensate for the ice cold tires?
Well, my setups just lean to the oversteer side usually, and this was no different. I don't know if it was faster way, but it was fun.
Yeah, could you talk a little bit about the tire temperatures? Because we noticed following your car on board that they were stone cold, and there was a race control message in the middle of the race that warned everybody of the same thing.
They work pretty nicely still, because I slide so much. I didn't find that to be a problem. But well, if the other guys' tires were warmer, then I guess that's why they were faster today.
Well, fair enough. Once again, congratulations to you. I know everybody enjoys watching these events, and we hope that we get another E-Challenge. Will you be back to defend your title if we do?
Yeah, I see no reason why not. This is a fun event for sure.
All right. Well, thank you once again, and congratulations, Jimmy Virtanen. We do have more interviews lined up. We'll talk to Jared Mead next. Jared Mead, who started second and finished fourth. Jared, welcome. You had a strong race today, started second, surprised us, and then you mounted a late charge to try to catch Jimmy Virtanen. You weren't quite able to do it, but you put on a good show for us. Tell us about it.
Yeah, am I working here?
Yeah,
yep, we've got you loud and clear.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, the qualifying surprised myself too. I was just I was looking in the first 2 rounds. I was always within like a tenth of making super pole. So this round I really wanted to get into super pole, and I thought I would. But then it was like, okay, I'm in, great. But I had a lot of help from the ballast. And then for the actual super pole session, all the ballast comes off, and it was like I got Pentola, I got Gior, I got Verdun in, I got Gotch and Montejudas and all these guys. Like I'm gonna start 6th. Like there's no way I'm gonna do decent. I'm gonna be last in super pole. But yeah, I was gobsmacked.
Yeah, you had. I have to say, we were seeing the names in there, and then you put that absolutely incredible lap in. I thought it was incredible. I thought for sure you were going to be on pole, but Jimmy just had that something extra in the qualifying there.
And yeah, by 100th of a second, that was the annoying part for me too. The yell I gave out, almost as big as my Crashmas win yell, just to realize I was 100th of a second off pole.
Yeah, fantastic performance in the qualifying. In the race, you seemed a little bit lonely for sectors. You were faster than the guys behind, and just a little bit slower than the guys ahead.
Yeah, I kind of just figured out during the race. I knew it was going to be really close between a 37 or 38 lap race. I was being fairly conservative, and Jimmy ran a crazy pace at the start, but it's like I just let him go. And I was like, I'm going to run to a 38 lap race just to be safe. And about halfway through, like, no, I picked up the pace again. And yeah, I was chasing Jimmy a couple more laps there. I crossed the line. I ran out of fuel in the last corner and basically Flintstone the car down the entire final straightaway. Just watching cars go by, and I'm just going, no. But Jimmy put up a real good defense there, especially in that hairpin in the final sector, the second sector. He was doing a very good job of making my life very difficult.
Yeah, I don't know if you've spoken to Gabor yet, but I'm sure he could tell you the exact same thing. When he put on a fantastic defense from him for most of the race, I think it was. But we could tell when you picked up the pace, because I think the guys behind you were catching you at one point. I thought you were going to lose that 4th place, and then it just seemed like a switch came on and you started pulling away from them again.
Yeah, basically there was that time. Lucidi was right in my mirrors, and then he got some cheeky teammate help. That's all I'll say. But then I kind of realized I cleared all that, and I was like, I can pick up this pace. Let's get out of here.
Well, you drove a great race. It was fun for us to watch. I'm sorry we didn't get your a reprisal of your "This is Crashmas" yell, but I can imagine it well enough. So thanks very much for joining us in the box, and well done to you today.
Thanks, guys. And I would say, the streams have been great. The series has been great. It's great that Scow and Scavier has been involved and actively supporting this and making changes to the core game to make this work better. Because this is something that's very rare in sim racing and new to LFS, and I think it's been executed extremely well.
Yeah, those are very kind words. We appreciate that immensely. Jared Mead, everybody. Thank you, and good luck next time out. We have Adam Brown lined up for an interview as well. Let's bring him in. Adam, you came from Porsche Esports and then took a short break and then came here, and it looked a little challenging in the middle of the race, but then you wound up 6th.
Yeah, I think the whole practice that I did, was just acclimatizing to LFS from iRacing. It was, this race was great fun. I'm happy with 6th.
Yeah, tell us about the start of your race, because of course I think you got caught up in a little bit of a collision there. Tell us about what happened and what was going through your head then.
Well, yeah, there was sort of there's a pile-up on lap 1. There was a lot of cars strewed all over the track. I lost a lot of time there. I'm a bit disappointed because my car wasn't really damaged, but I think if that hadn't have happened, I could have got top 5.
Yeah,
easily.
So you had a good fight with Unstall towards the end. Do tell us about what happened with there, because I saw you both got very brave into, I think it was the turn 90 left of turn 9. Do talk us through that fight.
The only reason I had caught up to him is because he'd made quite a big mistake into, I think it was turn 3 or turn 4, and he was putting a lot of pressure on me. Obviously wanted his place back, and I was just sort of picking a very neutral line into every corner to make sure he didn't have a wee little look, and he caught me out into there, and I sort of outbraked myself. He outbraked himself. It all kind of went wrong for both of us, and luckily I managed to escape.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, we did see that indeed. How have you found the E-Challenge series this year?
Well, first round was very hectic. I was not used to the car, not used to it. So it was great fun, but it didn't go that well for me. I missed the second round, but this last round, great fun. It was good. There's a lot of strategy involved. It's a very interesting concept. It's great.
Well, it was fun for us to watch, and it looked like you had fun out there, and we're glad you did. Adam Brown, everybody, thanks for joining us in the commentary box, and will we see you if we have another one of these?
I think so, yeah. Thank you very
Excellent.
much.
Glad to hear it. All right, we've got more interviews lined up. Lots of people want to talk to us today. We will talk to Martin Kapal and Carolus Maciutis. Martin, Carolus, we've got you both in here together. Martin, we'll ask you first. Looked like you had some good fights in the middle of the race. Tell us how it went.
Yeah, I got caught in a few pile-ups at the beginning, which was quite unfortunate, but didn't really lose that much time. But yeah, there was a lot of battles going on, but I managed to keep it calm and not spend a lot of energy in the end. So I'm really happy with the result.
And Carolus, you started up front in sixth position, and then it looked like it got a little bit out of control in the middle of the race, and you were able to come back up to eighth. Tell us about your race.
I wouldn't say it got out of control in the middle of the race. It got out of control in the second corner. I went into the wall, some people went into me, and I dropped to 13th, and the rest of the race was just trying to climb as high as I can.
We noted it was quite like indoor karting, this sort of track. It's very close. You make a mistake, there's a lot of people, you do tend to drop a long way down, don't you?
Oh, yes.
How have you found the E-Challenge? Well done on 8th place, but how have you found the E-Challenge overall this season?
Well, the car is rather strange to drive. It tends to understeer a lot. I tried playing with setups and I couldn't really find the right setup for me. It was okay, the car. The whole season, the whole series, it was a welcoming change to all of us. Yeah, it brings another point in the strategy.
Well, it looked like you guys did pretty well out there. It looked like you had a lot of fun. Your closing thoughts on this season and the thoughts as we look forward to hopefully having another one of these, because it was very popular. Carolus, you first.
Tough to say. I think the main focus, at least what I would want to see, would be the car. Though I haven't worked in the LFS editor. I don't know how to edit the cars really, but maybe they could be more. I don't think natural is the right word. I can't think of another word right now. But yeah, they are a bit strange to drive right now. But otherwise, the format, the qualifying format, I think it fits this. It's good.
Great, thanks for sharing that. Martin, your thoughts on this season and then looking forward.
Yeah, what I liked about this series was the uniqueness, the wet races, but all the kind of wet races were quite fun. Well, one of them I think we had. Just because you can't push every lap, you have to think about something different than the regular races. And yeah, thinking if there's another season going on, I would like to see more rounds. Obviously, 3 rounds are quite little. And yeah, I think I will have to beat Jared next time, because I don't like that. That's not acceptable.
Yeah, Jared finished on top today, so you gotta bring your A game next time around. Carolus Maciutis and Martin Kapal, thank you both for your time, and thanks for competing. We've got a couple more interviews. We'll talk to Hassan Talberg Unsal. Hassan, you had to... Oh, I jumped the gun. There's Hassan. Hassan, you tell us about that battle toward the end of the race with Adam Brown. It looked like neither of you were willing to get on the brakes first, and then and you both clattered the barrier.
I just tried to pass Adam there because I wanted a good result in this league because I didn't have any points before 2 rounds, and now I wanted to get as much points as I can. And Adam just saved much more than me, and he was pushing so hard, and I just tried to pass him, but I wasn't able to. And also, as you said, we just didn't want to break early. Neither I. And then he just gone. He saved it, but I couldn't save, and I just hit the wall. But fortunately, the car didn't have much more damage, so I could go and finish the race. But also, my calculations were wrong about the race distance. So I thought I have much more energy than I need, but in the end, I found out I didn't have enough energy there. So I just ran out of fuel in the last straight to finish.
Well, it's quite lucky it was only the last straight and not further on with some of the slower sections. You were really in the mix a few times. I saw you in the big 5-car. I think it was a big 5-car train you were involved in. Do tell us about your battles through that race.
We just going with number 18, I think, and with Pedro, David, number 52, and me. We just going. We just try to go with a good pace and also saving energy. While we are talking with Pedro, David, and me, and then number 18 was pushing a bit more, and he was using more energy, and also number 52 was doing the same. We just tried to let them go, and we thought that we could save more than them and catch them up in the late race, but we couldn't able to do that because, as I said, mine and our calculations were wrong about the race distance. So we didn't have enough energy to finish the race. As you see, Pedro also wasn't able to finish the race there.
Yeah, I think the 52 ended up quite far down. I think it was about 40 seconds behind you in the end. So you did manage to beat him, but you did a fantastic job to bring the car home in 10th.
Yeah, I was just trying everything to finish the race. And as I said, I had my energy just finished in the last straight. So I was lucky to finish the race. I saved so much in the last lap. I wasn't even pushing, just laying off the gas after exiting off the turns. So I was so lucky today to finish the race.
Yep, you finished the race. You did sneak a point in there, so you achieved that. And we want to thank you for competing. And give us your perspective. You have a bit of we'll call it the inside perspective because you are a member of the host team. Your final thoughts on this season and looking forward.
The league was so good, and also the planning of this and the league was so before the team was, and also Michael was planning this so long time ago. And now I think the league was so good, but unfortunately we only had 3 rounds. I wish we had more rounds in this league. So maybe in the next year or next e-challenge league, maybe we can have new era cars and also more rounds to compete more. So maybe we can have a good championship with everyone trying to get points, etc.
Agreed completely, and you're not the first person to say that in interviews. So I think your teammates are listening. Hopefully, we'll see a longer season next time out. That is Hassan Unsal. Thank you for joining us in the commentary box, and thank you for competing in this series. We have one more interview. Last but not least, we have Michael Malik. Michael Malik, one of the organizers, member of the host team, MRC. Michael, we had a lot of fun watching that. Tell us, reflect on the season, and give us your thoughts looking forward. Michael, we're terribly sorry about this, but I'm going to ask you that question again because we had some audio problems while we were talking to you. Do you mind? I'm really sorry about that. Pete also says he's really sorry for what it's worth. Do you mind sharing those thoughts again? Your reflection on the season, and then looking forward.
That was my second longest monologue of my life, and you didn't record. Well,
yeah, well, you can. I tell you what, for the stream, you can blame me for this, and then we'll talk to Pete afterward. Maybe abbreviate it this time, so I don't make you repeat the entire thing.
I will try to repeat again. So first of all, I want to thank to the new Dimension Racing for overseeing these races and making the race directions. Then thanks to you guys from Steam Broadcasts for making streams of these races because you made quite exceptional job. And lastly, thanks to all drivers who attended because without them we would be watching an empty track and that would be very exciting. But these guys made quite a good show and I'm really thankful for that. Because when I look back last year, we did run this as I would say a one-off experimental race and it wasn't very successful because we had very few people. The format was quite bad because of the limitations of the game. But this year with over 50 entries and pretty much full grid on every race we had, I would call this a great success and I'm really looking forward to some new edition next year. It will be a long year, so who knows who I can bring up to the Live for Speed by then. I mean, a lot of has happened in the last year, so there are some promises to deliver even better than next year.
I feel like you were prepared ahead of time for me asking this question because your repeat of the answer was really, really good. You nailed everything. Are we going to see another E-Challenge? There are a lot of people calling for it. They want a longer season. We loved calling it, and I know Tom and I would really enjoy seeing it again. Are we going to have another one?
There definitely will be another one, I guess, at worst in the next year, the end of this year or the early next year. I want to keep it on the annual basis so it doesn't get worn quickly. But I have to figure out how many rounds the next edition would have to have because, of course, as is usual, the attendance keeps dropping and this race we had like 20-something cars. So I think 3 rounds were just alright for this year and we need to make some more improvements to maintain the attention and have a lot of cars to have more rounds in the next edition.
Michael, you noted that attendance kept dropping through. Why do you think it is that the attendance dropped through on a series like this? Do you think maybe the low attendance today would have been the circuits or what is it that you think it could be?
Well, I think it's quite usual for the sim racing events that at the beginning there's some new league. Everyone is interested and want to try out, so it's a full grid. People want two servers to race on and etc. And then as events go on, some people figure out, I don't have time or I'm not good enough for this league. I'm just taking up the space. And it's usual for the final race that actually not that much people show up because, it's final round. It's not very much to play for most people because they are out of contention for the championship and they just, I don't want to say don't bother, but I understand why that's happening. So we need to implement some mechanisms to keep the interest high, but I have yet to figure out how to do that.
Maybe we need to sandbag or handicap Jimmy Virtanen because he was so far in the lead after 2 rounds.
I will shoot him into the leg, that will do.
Fair enough.
Force him pit lane start.
Force him into pit lane. That's a good idea. Do you have any final thoughts you want to share?
Fun talks. As I said in the repeated monologue, I'm really grateful how this league went and definitely looking forward to the next edition. I will try to make it even better than this one, and because the year is quite long, I'm wondering what improvements I can make, because considering what we had last year, that was a huge improvement, and I think there's still a lot of potential to make it even better next time.
All right, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, we also agree it was brilliant. Tom and I had a lot of fun. All the competitors really enjoyed it, and it looks like the community enjoyed it as well. So thanks very much for putting this on and letting us share it with everybody. That's Michael Malik, everybody, from Master Race Car, organizer for the second season of the E-Challenge. Thanks very much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All right, I think that's about all we've got for today. Tom, do you have any final thoughts you would like to share with everybody?
I do. It's been a fantastic season. I know I've only commentated on 2 of these races, but both races I've seen have been some of the best racing and been so interesting and exciting. And the race has been evolving all the way through. You'd think it's going to be one thing that was going to happen, and then it would just twist. And it's been really interesting to watch. And it's always kept me trying to guess about what's going to happen next. It's been very exciting for me to commentate on.
We'll have to bow to one. I don't know if we'll call it a mistake, but we failed one prediction this season, and that was today. We did not have a safety car. We ran a clean race. We finally missed one, Tom.
Yeah, I think that's one in the box of wrong calls, because I've been quite consistent with a few of them. The crazy one back in race 1 of I think it was Elder Kadrich predicting him for a P5 finish when he was something like 11th, which was, I still hold that as a fantastic guess. But yeah, today we didn't have any safety car, which did surprise me. There was a lot of contact that went on, but fortunately nobody was wiped out of the race in any of that contact, which was good to see.
Yeah, I had forgotten about Elder Kodrich's surprise P5. Clearly, you're proud of that. It had slipped my mind. I think that will do it for us today. I agree with everything Thomas said. I have nothing to add to that. This was a brilliant series. We really enjoyed bringing it to you. We want to thank everybody from New Dimension Racing who helped do the officiating. Provost, that's Jonathan Provost, Jonathan Palmer, everybody on the New Dimension Racing team. The Master Race Car team for organizing this event. Michael Malik in particular, he has been instrumental in helping organize this, and we really appreciate his partnership and his friendship. Everybody on the Sim Broadcast team, Peter in our ears, and Elmo helping as well. Owen Harmon for standing in to commentate 2 rounds ago. I am here today with Tom Jones, my friend in the commentary box. My name has been, my name is Travis Mehlinger. From everybody at New Dimension Racing, everybody at Master Race Car, the Sim Broadcast team, we really enjoyed bringing you this event, and we hope that you will join us for the next one of these. We don't know when it'll be, but it sounds like it probably will happen. Wherever you are, be safe, be well. We hope to see you next time. Thank you very much for watching. We appreciate your patronage. Have a great day, and goodbye.